Normally, 140 ships pass through the Strait of Hormuz daily, carrying a fifth of global oil. In 2026, those shipping lanes went quiet. The macroeconomic reaction was immediate. Within weeks of the conflict's start, the physical disruption sent Brent crude oil prices climbing past $125 a barrel. The crisis created a strange military paradox. While the United States effectively dismantled Iran's conventional navy in the opening salvos, the waterway remained closed to commercial traffic. This is the dual blockade. While the U.S. Navy blocks Iranian ports to starve the regime of revenue, Iran uses its shoreline to deny the world access to the Gulf. To understand why a military superpower cannot simply force the strait open, we have to look at the asymmetric attrition ledger, the brutal fiscal math that defines this stalemate. The American response, Project Freedom, centers on blockading the blockaders. U.S. forces systematically intercept Iranian-flagged vessels to choke off the regime's primary economic engine. The U.S. Fifth Fleet provides a security umbrella using high-end naval assets, keeping guided missile destroyers and specialized helicopters on a continuous high-alert patrol. The scope of this operation reaches far beyond the Middle East. Satellite data shows the U.S. tracking and diverting Iran-linked ships thousands of miles away, even near the Malacca Strait. This effort is incredibly expensive. In just the first 2 months, the Pentagon burned through $18 billion to maintain its presence and protect the few tankers willing to transit. Total maritime domain awareness is a tactical success, but the resulting burn rate creates a financial burden that exceeds the budget for many regional wars. After losing its large capital ships, Iran's Revolutionary Guard pivoted to the Mosquito Fleet. This is a distributed force of thousands of fast attack crafts and suicide boats that are difficult to track and even harder to eliminate. Beneath the surface, they deploy Maham 7 influence mines. Using non-metallic components to evade sonar, they sit on the seabed, detecting magnetic signatures of specific vessels. This controllable restriction makes waters deadly, spiking insurance premiums until commercial owners simply refuse the risk. These assets are cheap to build, easily replaced, and hidden in rugged subterranean coastal bunkers that protect them from standard aerial bombardment. Iran isn't trying to win a traditional naval engagement. Their strategy is to weaponize risk and use the strait's geography to hold the global energy supply chain hostage. The math of this defense reveals a massive economic imbalance. Each time the U.S. intercepts an incoming threat, it relies on highly sophisticated air defense systems like the Patriot. A single Patriot interceptor costs about $4 million. Its target is often a mass-produced Iranian drone that costs the regime roughly $50,000 to build. The danger is that the defense must be perfect every time, while the attack only needs to succeed once to inflict massive damage. That risk was realized when a single Iranian strike in Saudi Arabia destroyed a specialized USAFAR radar plane. A drone worth tens of thousands of dollars neutralized a $700 million surveillance asset. In this conflict, the outcome isn't determined by who inflicts the most kinetic damage, but by which nation can absorb the highest financial losses before its budget or domestic politics give way. The U.S. blockade has pushed Iran to a domestic breaking point. Their oil storage is at absolute capacity, state revenue has evaporated, and the regime is facing mounting internal instability. But the U.S. Navy is also strained. A shortage of active minesweepers means that even if the fighting stopped today, fully clearing the strait of hidden threats could take up to 6 months. Both nations are currently locked in a cycle where neither can force a decisive victory without suffering a catastrophic economic collapse at home. Iran is now attempting to institutionalize this crisis through a toll booth system. Their proposed laws would require all commercial ships to pay transit fees in Iranian rials, while permanently banning U.S. and Israeli vessels. The shipping industry is already adjusting to this new reality. Companies must either pay this geopolitical surcharge or add weeks of travel time by rerouting their entire fleets around Africa. This deadlock is forcing a permanent shift in energy logistics. Nations are now accelerating their move toward alternative pipelines and domestic power generation, fundamentally re-engineering their supply chains to bypass the Strait of Hormuz entirely.